Oh, yeah. Thanks so much, man. Appreciate you. Okay. Let's see.
Yeah, he was just newest correspondent on the Daily Show. When Mr. Start clapping, make some noise. Let's hear it for Dow Johnson!
I love Christmas time. It's one of my favorite seasons because I love the gift giving. You know, because I'm not good at giving gifts. I'm not. Like, I put a lot of thought into the gift. I think about the person. I think about the gift. I think mostly about what I can afford. And then I get them the gift, and there's nothing more disappointing than their face when they open my gift. Like, it's like, because these are people I love that love me, so they fighting to look at least mildly enthused. Like, the battle they're having in their head to not ask me what I was thinking. You can see the wheels turning where they're like, I don't want to be rude, but now I'm genuinely curious. What was on his mind when he bought this? What would make him think I would like this, right? Like, I remember one time I bought my friend, I bought them like a really nice, and it was expensive. It was very nice, and it was polished, but it was like a polished figurine of an Easter egg. And then they opened it, and they were like, oh is never good, by the way. Do you know what I mean? Like, even if you propose and you hear, it's about to be no. Like, it's very close. It's coming up. And so I gave them the gift, and they were like, oh. And then I felt like I needed to fill the space because they said, oh, and they didn't say anything else. But I was like, clearly I need to let them know why this is a brilliant gift. And so I was like, because you love Easter. And they were like, oh. And I hadn't been hit with 2 O's in a while. That second O let me know that maybe this is just bad. Maybe they weren't confused. Maybe they've decided they hate this gift. And so I was like, yeah, because you love Easter. That's your favorite holiday. I know it's Christmas, but it's still something to do with Easter now. Like, I got you something rather than waiting to give this to you on Easter. I got you a little bit of Easter in winter. And they were like, you could have got like a crucifix or something. And I was like, wow. That did not occur to me. I forgot you love Easter because you love the Lord. I just thought holiday egg. Let's make it happen. And so I don't always get the best gifts, which is, fair enough, which is why I love going to other people's Christmases. Like when I was in college, I would get invited to spend the holiday if I didn't go home to visit somebody else and spend Christmas with them or something. And it was nice because I got to watch other people be bad at giving gifts. And it's just nice to not feel alone, I went and had Christmas with my buddy one time, and family was all around exchanging gifts and stuff, and everybody was bad at giving gifts. It was a holiday miracle. Dad got the mom some gifts, and she opens it and she lifts it and shakes it a little bit. Oh, it's heavy. It's heavy. Unwraps it, and he got her weights. And she was like, why'd you get me? And in my head, I'm like, go ahead, answer. Please answer. Why'd you get her the weights? Why'd you get them, Stephen? What are the weights for? Now you can see the flicker in his eyes where he was like, they were on sale? But it was fair enough because then he opened her gifts and she got him look, you think the whites are bad? This woman bought this man 50 Shades of Grey. If you don't know what 50 Shades of Grey is, it's a book, but but the things you think of when you read the book, the pictures it puts in your head are the fantasy. You go to places, you know. And so the idea that she would get this man 50 Shades of Grey, I don't even know what the attack is. I don't even know if she's like, you need to read anything, read more, I don't care what it is, or if it's like, just do the book to me. Like, when is this man supposed to read 50 Shades of Grey at work? Is he just supposed to be in the break room hitting up that 50 Shades of Grey? This man drives a truck. You don't think anybody's gonna ask him? Hey, Stevie, what you reading? Oh no, it's just this book that, you know, my wife got me. This is a rich guy that's like getting involved with this young lady, and you know, I can't tell. She's like, you should read more or do that to me, or I'm done with it. Like, she had also read 50 Shades of Grey, so I'm like, she just didn't get him anything. And then it was my buddy's turn, and you know, I feel like it takes a long time for a child to be good at giving their parent a gift. The first few gifts you give your parents are from other adults. That's just it. It's just like, hey, this beautiful diamond bracelet is from you and me. We're going to give it to your mom together. And then you stand there all proud like, yeah, the diamond bracelet is also from me. You know, with all my 5-year-old disposable income. Do you love it? And then your mom, because your mom loves you, goes, oh, what a beautiful, oh my God, hugs you all tight and everything, and you feel all proud. You didn't have to do anything. You didn't have to do anything. You have to think of anything. Sometimes you get somebody, when you're little enough, you can get anybody anything, and they at least pretend to love it. When you're like 5, you could draw them a picture. I did that. There was a Christmas where I drew a bunch of people pictures. I can't draw at all. I gave them less than nothing. I wasted their time. I genuinely wasted their time because I wrapped the picture that I drew, and so they had to open it like it was about to be something. And the worst part is that I was like, oh, let me not let it get crinkled up or anything, so I had it in like an envelope with the wrapping paper around it. They probably thought it was going to be a check, anything actually valuable. It was too much work. There was a little bow on it. They had to move the bow. They had to unwrap it. They had to not crinkle it. They had to open up this envelope just to get a picture of them that looked offensive. When I think back to how I drew, there's no way I drew a good-looking person. I drew as best as I could put my hand to the page, and it wasn't good. Everybody's head was out of proportion. But I was little, so they pretended to love it. They were like, oh. And I think some of them did love it. Some of them probably did love it because they loved me. And they were like, oh, this person that used to not even exist, that's so little, so cute, love them so much, they did their best. And that's very sweet, right? But then you get older. And then it's like even more obvious you didn't get the gift. You know? It's like, oh, you know, maybe your dad comes up to you, hey, these earrings, they're from me and from you, okay? Because you were with me when I bought them, and you helped me pick them. And tells your mom, earrings are for us. Earrings are from you? Yeah, they're from me too. With all my 9-year-old disposable income. And I was the one that pointed, so also from me. And then around like 12, 13, it's time to get a gift. Like a genuine, like something, put in some effort, right? You can't lean in on dad's gift anymore. and now you're on your own, and this is where I really failed. This is where I fell apart, because I was like, okay, what can I afford? I could probably get her some candy. What does she like? All right, she already has a Bible. This is going to be tough, you know. And gift giving is such a skill. Gift giving is its own gift, because it means you were like listening for the right moment. You understand a person so well. Sometimes you get a gift that's so bad that people are like, oh, you don't know me at all. Or you got me this gift because you want to show me how little you care about me. You really want to step out of just saying I hate you with words and do it with surprise. Do it with a little mystery to it. Maybe wrap it up, put a bow on it, box it up. You know? And so, you know, they opened my buddy's gifts to them, his parents. Right? And he got his dad a calendar for the year we were in. Almost all of the calendar had happened. And then he was like, son, there's only a little bit of the year left. You got me a planner for 6 days. And he was like, no, Dad. All you gotta do is cross out the last number and it'll be a calendar for next year. And he was like, why didn't you buy a calendar for next year? And he was like, they ran out. So I got one for this year. There were plenty of those. And he's like, son, that won't work because the days also change. It won't just work to put, because it'll be a different day of the week when it's that date. Next year is a leap year. It's like, oh, my bad. Okay. I can return it. And then my buddy got his mom a copy of 50 Shades of Grey. And it's like, I was like, do you not know what the book is? In what world? One of the worst gifts I've ever seen somebody give was a cat. This dude got his girlfriend a cat, and it would normally be adorable, right? Except the cat was fully grown and had already decided it hated people. I don't know where he got this cat from, but this cat, first of all, the cat was barely a surprise. They knew it was a cat as soon as he tried to give the cat, because what he did was he tried to put the cat, so you know the crate that you put a cat in? He had the crate, but he had wrapped it, and he had put the little like slits for, you know, the front for air in the thing. But as he's handing her this thing that's way too heavy, he's handing it like this, and inside she can hear, like it's, the cat isn't meowing. The cat is screaming. It's guttural. It's coming from the back of the throat. And then she rips the wrapping paper out of the way. And the cat is like, and then she's like, oh, you got me a kitten, right? As soon as she opens the front, the cat, this cat was amazing, by the way, because it both had agility, but also the most mass I've seen on the cat. This is the fattest cat I've ever seen, but the way that it flew out of the crate past her and was just running in the house, just like, and he's like, oh, you got me a cat, oh my gosh. And then she went to try to pick the cat up, and the cat, okay, for a little while I didn't believe it was a cat. For a little while I thought it was either like an actual like bobcat from the wild, or a demon, because the way that she went to pick it up and then it stood up and was like, it did, like, it was ready to put his paws on her. Like, it was, this cat, like, it couldn't, I'm not saying it boxed, but I'm just saying, like, the way it would, like, almost stand, it would get really high and then it would let that first one come up. And this cat hated everyone and everything. And I was like, did you get the cat from like a shelter, or where'd you get the cat? And he was like, okay, look. Which is never a good pet origin story. He's like, okay, look, the cat crawled up into the hood of my car. It was cold, it wanted to be warm, and so it crawled up. And then when I was pulling the cat out, it just kept coming out. There was so much cat, because it's the biggest cat any of us have ever seen. I was like, it looked like a lion. Like, you can't just give someone a pet like that. Do you know what I mean? A plant, I feel bad enough letting it die. You can't let an animal die. You can't just be like, oh, well, I didn't even meet this one. It shouldn't even be on me because it was a gift. That sounds so crazy, but it's true. It's like you've just given this person duties now. And not a lot of duties. The cat was very fat, and it was clearly a street cat, so it knows how to survive. No. I don't know if y'all saw, but a lot of the Amazon workers went on strike today. Like a bunch of them went on strike, yeah. Which I think is phenomenal, not just for workers' rights, but because I low-key have not got anybody anything yet, and like that's, when I was like, hey, yeah, give them whatever they want, all right? They should stay out there till January 2nd or something. Genuinely, I was like, oh man, okay, and then that means that things won't get delivered on. We serve a mighty God. We serve. You know? But yeah, the Amazon workers are striking. It's one of the biggest strikes against Amazon ever. I think it is the biggest ever against Amazon. It's in different places and everything. And it's coming at a time where Amazon needs them desperately. Rest of the year, you could kind of, shirk them off. But this is, Amazon promised us Christmas. I hate to burst your bubble in case you still believe, but there is no Santa. Santa is whoever is driving that Amazon truck. And Amazon made a promise. They made a promise through Prime. They made a promise through pre-orders. And, why their reputation stakes on delivering on that promise. And so if the workers strike and they can't get things to the people, maybe the people are like, wow, I put a lot of stake in you, Amazon. Maybe I'm just going to go to Target next time. But Amazon, they claim not to have it. They claim that they don't have the money. If it's laughable to you, then imagine if you work at Amazon. And you just looking around like, oh, so y'all don't have it. The boss went to space. Tell me what you don't have again? Oh, we don't have it. We're not able. We need too many people working at the same time at a pace that's unrealistic, because we tried to replace you with robots, but then the robots killed themselves. Dude, everybody forgets about that. Everybody forgets that when they've tried AI, they've tried to replace the workers in their faces, and the AI, the robot, whatever it is like, you know what? I think I'm just gonna break forever. The robot will do everything except hit itself in the head. That's wild. That's so crazy that you would just You would just tell us you don't even have. That's one of the main things I can't stand about a lot of big companies. And don't get me wrong, right? In the future, you may even see me do like a partnership with a brand that I like. I'm not saying business in and of itself is evil. I'm not saying big business in and of itself has to be evil. I'm just saying the way that some of the most profitable companies in the world have worked is evil, right? And so my thing, especially with Amazon, is that there's always, for you, the customer, there's always surge pricing. There's never, across any company that I know of, outside of overtime, surge pay. That's all you need. If you had just been like, listen, for 3 months, working at Amazon is going to be the most profitable. It's going to be the most profitable thing an employee can do. We're gonna pay you 2x, 3x, whatever it takes. Because we also know how much money they made because they tell us. Why would you do that? Why would you go on the news, by the way, to be like, Amazon made a record-breaking whatever billion today on Prime Day, and then tell the people that work there, y'all, we ain't got it. The boss needs to go to space again. No, it's insane. Because it wouldn't do, I don't know, it wouldn't do what companies claim it would do, to pay more, if nothing else, during the seasons that you're asking them to work more. And we can't even begin to fathom the conditions all around that are like in an Amazon warehouse. We hear about them from time to time. People get fired, or they get hurt, or they quit, and then they tell us. And it never gets like fully enveloped all together. One, because there's not enough time. Too many people have been screwed over. It's like, we all know somebody who dated somebody that was like trash, right? Like they dated a bad person. After like the third testimony of dating this person, you're like, I don't even need to hear anymore. This person is undateable. They shouldn't be out. You know, and that's what it should be like with Amazon, but it's like the stories don't get to enough people, and there are people that are like, oh, I got docked pay for going to the bathroom. What they want me to do, you know? Or I got hurt at the warehouse because everybody's trying to meet these like specific time-stamped goals, and if they don't meet them, they might get fired, and this is the job that they have. This is how they're going to pay their rent for the time being to make ends meet, so they're pushing the cart extra fast, not looking where they're going. They run over somebody's foot, they drop a box on somebody's head, and then there's a whole system in place. Instead of making a system to make it safer, instead of making a system to pay people more, or instead of making a system that just functions better, there's a whole system in place for when things go wrong. So that way, they don't have to pay people out, or they don't have to. You would rather hire a lawyer to come up with the type of NDA that when someone dies at work, their family can't sue, than to just do things the right way, you know? Because we've decided that it's like more profitable to be a bastard. I mean, but like, I guess my thing is this: at a certain point, the fact that no money is enough, right? The fact that there's no number, you can't get higher than space. Do you know what I mean? The man has been to space. There's nowhere else to go because he's not going to heaven. There's no more. You have enough money. I'm not even saying that as someone, look, I'll be very honest with you right now. I would like to, in my lifetime, make a lot of money. I have no gripe with people who have a lot of money. It's only the way in which they make that money. That's all that ever bothers me when it does bother me. I usually don't care how much money anybody has. We're all on a different path. Some people are born with money. You can't help that. Some people make a lot of money through everyone wanting to buy their product. You can't help that. I'm not jealous of anybody. I want everybody to do well. It's just I look at the state of things, right? And there's no perfect system. I'm not saying I have the whole answer. The answer is you're going to have to make less money. But I don't have an answer that they would like or implement, you know? I guess my thing is this: if we want to help the workers as much as possible, bodies get put on the line. when they try to meet these goals, right? It's one of the things that they're protesting, one of the things that they're striking against is that they have to put their bodies on the line to get things to us, the consumer, right? When we order. Because for us, it's just a click. For them, it's their body, it's their livelihood, it's their life sometimes. And I think the only way to fix this, at least temporarily, is to bring back like 2013 Black Friday. Like I think rather than putting it all on them, we got to get out in the streets and we got to start beating the ever-living shit out of each other for the products that we want, that are supposedly on sale, right? Black Friday is a shell of itself, and it is unacceptable. Most of it happens online, which is disgusting, right? We need to get these prices down, and actually down. I don't mean the thing that like Walmart does sometimes where it's the same price and they put it back the next day and they made you think it was lower because of the day. I'm talking about actually marketably lower, right? And then we have to start training in August. Okay? We need to start practicing, maybe even with family. Bring the family. Let the family come early, all right? Throw some bows, right? Make sure that like grandma's shuffle is good when she's trying to get through people. Make sure that the youngest brother can really handle that offensive line that you're going to need to create to get to the register, all right? Make sure his tackle is good. And we need to get back in stores the way that it used to be. One of the problems is Amazon's too powerful. They wouldn't be too powerful if we started shopping again at the stores that we shopped at before Amazon, right? One of the other things is that, you know, that dopamine hit that you get when you buy the thing and then the thing comes the next day. I'm not saying you don't deserve your dopamine hits. I'm just saying it's a much stronger dopamine hit to knock the hell out of somebody for the TV that you want. This is America. You got to earn your dopamine. Okay? The amount of strangers that we used to have, America used to come together to be divided for one day. Used to wrap that wrist around the throat of a neighbor. And you used to sink that choke in tight. A choke that would make John Jones proud. A choke that would mean that your family got to play the board game Sorry that night. Because you went in and you choked until you saw a little bit of blue. Just a touch. Just so you knew they wouldn't fight anymore, and then you let them go, and you didn't drop them. You're not a monster. You placed them down gently. It was the next person running up that stepped on their chest. It is the American way to build community through violence. Okay? We used to do it. We used to get in there. We used to make it messy. You know? You would have like... You'd have a couple scrapes, you didn't know where they came from. You know what I mean? You'd have a whole cut on your arm and you'd be like, huh, makes sense, but I don't know when it happened. But I don't know. I'm bad at giving gifts, but I hope that everyone striking for Amazon gets what they want for Christmas. Genuinely, I do. Like, I can tell I'm bad at giving gifts because all I can offer is jokes. I don't know if y'all saw, but 23andMe is going bankrupt, and I imagine Providence has some stake in what happens with all that data, because it was y'all that were looking it up and like, no, I just wonder, you know what I mean? Like sometimes, I don't know, there's just some days where I feel like a little Scandinavian, and no, it's just fun to find out. It's like, just how German am I? get those percentage breakdowns and stuff. It's like, all right, do you? You know? I don't know. I wonder. I truly wonder. I knew they had some black people in the commercials, but I do wonder how many of us it was. Because every time I saw an ad for like a 23andMe, I was like, I have a general idea. Nah, I don't need to be sad today. I would rather not. You know? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? And send me a back. Send me a PDF that says slavery. They got you. No, I was good. And one of the reasons that was good is that early on, like I'm finally vindicated where I can say this and not seem crazy, because even at best, if my thing is like wrong, it still wasn't the best business plan, so they're going to, so I don't look as, because my friends looked at me like I was out of my mind. I had so many friends, all white. I had so many friends doing 23andMe, and I was like, don't do it! And you know, because I was a truther. I was like, look at what the company is doing, and look at what they're researching. Yeah, I mean, there are so many of these like heritage companies that are also putting money into pharmaceutical industry, and it's just to figure out how much of something people get when they're a certain lineage, invest in those drugs, expecting that thing to finally pop up one day. You know, and people were like, that's so paranoid, and I was like, yeah. Paranoid is paranoid is like why I won't do the thing. Like, okay, how do I put this? Paranoid to me is if you're right and you're paranoid, you're like spot on. If you're paranoid and you happen to be wrong, you do start to be crazy. Like, that is what a crazy person, like that's, now I'm crazy. If I was wrong and they were just a blossoming company and they were only helping the world, I'd be that one dude on the corner, don't take it. You know what I mean? That would be me. But look, all I'm saying is I told so many people, I was like, hey, you don't need to know. You made it through. Because then I had some friends where I was like, you don't even need to know, because I can tell you. How about that? I'll do you that favor. You don't need 23andMe, I'll do it for you. I have a friend who, okay, these two friends, they're the sweetest, but they make marriage such a curiosity to me, because I don't get, okay, she had kind of given him this ultimatum, right? Like, really, you know, go ahead and like, we're either doing it or we're not, you know, you're either in this or you're out, right? And so then he went ahead and proposed, and they got married. They're still married. And I don't know, like, as a bystander, his friend, closer to him than her, I don't know why she would do that to herself, right? Because I went out to dinner with them one time, third wheeling it. It's okay because they're married. It's not awkward. I'm just chilling with my buddies, right? My buddy and his wife, who I'm now friends with as well. And the server comes over and we're ordering. And then the server asked if there were any food allergies. I said no. And he turns to her and goes, do I? Do I have any food allergies? And she answered. She was like, yeah, shellfish. He was about to order the lobster bucket. And I was like, how is it worth keeping him alive like this? You literally forced an ultimatum to make it your job to keep him alive. Your prerogative, do what you want, but wow. You ever been driving and then you see like an animal on the side of the road and you're like, oh, we have to do something, someone might hit
hit that animal, and so then you stop the car and you catch it and you put it in the back seat and you take it to like a local shelter or something, and they're like, hey, so sorry, we're really overrun. So then you take it home and it sort of becomes your dog over time, and you love it and you take care of it and you keep it alive. And that is exactly what she did with my friend. With my friend, she saw this dude who, if left to his own devices, would eat all the shellfish, not fully hitch himself, fully just get a puffed out head. And she was like, no, I need to not only stop that from happening, I need to make him my entire responsibility. And so when she was like, yeah, shellfish, and he was like, oh, right. I was sitting there like flabbergasted, right? And then we were eating, and as we're eating, she lightly starts choking, right? Like starts choking on her meal, and she's like doing the coughs and trying to get some water. Like just you can hear her trying to force it out, and we both recognize that she's choking, and we both we don't fully stand up because we're in a booth, but we start to like push up a little bit, like as if we're gonna have to get up, and I'm about to come around, and then he's like, spit it out. Sir, what do you think her plan is? Do you think she's like contemplating spitting out, but oh, it's just so good? I bring up this entire thing because he did a 23andMe. And I was like, bro, I can tell you right now, all right? You're half jackass. You're a quarter dumbass. And you're another quarter ass. He has a very big butt. He is thick. No, it's insane. Because then 23andMe not only was getting everyone's like data that had their DNA, also home addresses, also payment methods. So there's so many different things that are bad about a breach to 23andMe versus like a breach of Target or a breach of some other company that has a whole lot of credit card transactions, right? There's like actual things about you as a person in there. And I know as Americans we don't care about our data. We don't. Our data, man, look, we gotta start respecting ourselves. For real, we are out here loose with our data, all right? You know what I mean? I'm not trying to shame, myself included. We are slutty with our data. Letting anybody get it. Anybody can get it. Anybody that feels like typing can get some of it. Not careful anything. We could have VPNs. We could have so much stuff. Nah. Let's be a little loose. There was already a data breach of 23andMe, and that freaked investors out. It freaked people out. It's like, what do people want with like my DNA results, you know? And then that stuff was apparently sold on the dark web in bits, and it's like, that's terrifying because I don't know what the dark web is. Everybody keep talking about the dark web, but whenever I go to Safari, it's just regular web. Everybody talking about the dark web. I don't know. I'm not even saying I want on. I just don't know how to get on, which scares me because I feel like I might accidentally get on one day. Do you know what I'm talking about? You know how you could go somewhere? Like, to me, the dark web feels a lot like gang territory. When I was growing up, if you go on a long enough walk, you end up somewhere you're not supposed to be. But you're like, these are the same feet that take me home took me here, so I wasn't trying to do anything, but that doesn't matter. Once you're in the territory, it's like, why are you wearing that color? So then, imagine, I'm just on the regular internet. I go to Safari, Firefox, any of it, and I type in the website. I get it one letter wrong. All of a sudden, my screen black and the letter's green. I'm sitting here trying to get out the matrix as fast as I can. And police quick with it now. They kick open the door like, why you on the dark web? It's like, no, it was my thumb. I didn't want this at all. So yeah, apparently a bunch of our data, a bunch of our like DNA results are already on the dark web, which is insane. And then you have 23andMe, to their credit. This is why business is scary in the US, right? We get mad at companies for creating a product. And they used to create a product. Our parents and our grandparents know about this. They used to create a product and they put together the pieces. They had the best pieces to make the best product. And so if it ever broke down and you understood how the product was made, you could buy one of those pieces and fix that product, right? It's why our grandparents had like TVs from the 60s. Because you could just go in there, you could open it up and be like, okay. And now purposely, whether it's for IP, there are places that will sue you. There are like certain phone companies that will straight up sue you if you fix people's phones for a business. Then some of those same companies will make it so everything is one use. So if it breaks, you have to buy another one, because that's how they keep the revenue coming in, right? They don't want you to be self-sufficient and actually know how to fix this thing, because then you might do it. They'd make less money, right? So they make a worse and worse product and they charge more and more for it. And if everybody does it, it becomes the new norm. And so now you don't expect anything to last for 4 or 5 years. And that used to be short term. You used to get things that last you for 10 years. My boy's granddaddy had a laptop. It might be the first laptop. It's honestly so old we can't even tell what the brand icon is, because that wiped away a long time ago. This computer looks like it was made in the movie Doom, like it's futuristic and old at the same time. And you turn it on, and the on button is hard. It's extra hard. You gotta press it with some girth. You gotta really lean on that on button if you want to turn it on. If you just press it, the computer's like, you don't want it bad enough. You gotta put your thumb almost in that button, and then you hear not even a click, you hear a, like it's, every key is clickety-clacking and hard as hell. And then when you turn it on, it does cough. Turn it on, it makes all those like fake internet sounds. You can hear the fan inside of it fighting for its life. The fan inside, it's because now all the blades of the fans and everything have like an almost silent motion to them. Sometimes you can hear you can just hear them if they're really working overtime. I had like this Lenovo laptop in college. It was one of the last laptops where it looked like if you look closely enough, you could see at least one of the fan blades moving, right? The fan in this laptop, first of all, I think it's missing a tooth. Because it's trying, it's coughing, and it's trying, and you can hear it. His computer moans, I forgot to mention that. And then, if you want to turn on Wi-Fi, there's nothing clickable. You want Wi-Fi? You got to hit that switch. You got to slide a switch at the front of the computer. And then you get a little stick with the little edges on the side. Beep, 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 you know. This laptop got everything but an antenna. And his granddad knew computers, or at least he knew computers well enough back when computers first came out, like first computer, just little 0, little 1. He had it on lock. And so he fixed his laptop over and over and over again for years, to the point where even now it'll turn on. You gotta press extra hard, you really gotta lean your body over it, but it'll turn on. And that day is gone. We're not in that anymore. We're in the world of tech companies putting out their products and soldering it to make sure that if you open it, you destroy it, right? And 23andMe, to their credit, they came up with a good product. They came up with a very good product. The problem was you only needed it once. And so that was pretty much their undoing. Some people are going to say it was marketing. Some people are going to say it was general business plan. No, the thing that 23andMe did that was wrong in today's America was making a good product. People only needed it once, and then they could forget about it. And they tried the subscription thing. They tried it. And people, even my white friends were like, no, I got it. mean, you said 45% Scandinavian. I'm going to take your word for it. I don't need to keep spitting in cups and sending them to you. That was the other thing I didn't trust. You know what I mean? Like, you just spit in a cup and mail it. Nah. Admittedly, that was a black thing for me. I was like, I'm not just gonna put my DNA out there for someone to have in case. Imagine now your mailman a murderer. He see that 23andMe package, he's like, this will do nicely. Now the mailman kills somebody on his normal schedule. He open up your 23andMe and then dump out your little sample. See, they did it, right? And you can tell they did because they kissed him on the forehead right after. No. And so they made a very good product. Some would say an incredible product. There's connection. There's connection in knowing where you come from, especially if you're deeply in search for it. Finding those answers can be really special. Not special enough for me to spit in the cup and then mail it, because nah, you're not gonna get me, right? But one day, in some way, maybe, it would be beautiful to figure out exactly where you come from, trace your entire lineage and everything like that. But a good portion of our life is genetics, but another portion is of where you come from are the people around you. The people that raise you are where you come from. Your environment is where you come from. Your culture, your community are where you come from. You know, if you have a good handle on those things, you know yourself. All the rest of the stuff is just gravy, you know? Because they tried to do these like home diagnostics, and that was a very bad idea. They were incredibly inaccurate, so people were either thinking they were in the clear or worrying for no reason, because you would do the 23andMe, and if you did the like pro premium package with the home diagnostic stuff, they'd send your sample back. They'd give you a PDF being like, yeah, you got diabetes. And then you would be like, are you sure? And they would say, no, I truly have no idea. That's the other reason I didn't do it. Not only am I like, no, I'm not gonna get my DNA out. What if you're a murderer? I also don't want to worry for no reason. Now, imagine somebody sending you something in the mail that's like, it's bad. It's bad. It's very bad. I'm not sure. Don't take my word for it, but it is pretty bad. I already have people in my life to do that. Truly, I already have people in my life giving me horrific medical advice. Just some of the worst stuff you've ever heard in your entire life. I have a friend who doesn't eat vegetables. Doesn't eat vegetables because he doesn't want to eat anything too phallic. I was like, well, explain your logic to me. And he was like, no, just dog, like, why, you want me to eat a cucumber? Try to bite a cucumber right now. It's all in your face, all hard and stuff. Not me. Not me. A carrot? No. I was like, you could chop it up. That's what they do. Do you think in a salad that they just lay the whole thing down? What are you talking about? Chop it up and eat your vegetable. He's like, no. You want me to hold? First of all, you want me to hold it and chop? You want me to hold? You want me to? No. That might give me nightmares, dog. I'm like, all right, yeah, be deficient in everything then. Just walk around needing a nap twice a day. That's on you. Horrific medical advice. The type of medical advice that makes you go, oh, okay. I didn't think there'd be anything worse than WebMD, but I found you. So they were doing these home diagnostic tests and everything, and they were sending people stuff back being like, yeah, you got a bunch of like heart stuff in your family. And then they would act accordingly. They go to their doctor, they run a bunch of tests, and if they were lucky, that was like incorrect, you know? Or sometimes they would miss whole things, you know? They'd be like, nah, you good, you good. In fact, your blood pressure low, you might want to get something salty right now. Nah, hit that pork chop right quick. You have the pork chop, all of a sudden you dizzy. Why is my whole left side hurt? And so now that they're going bankrupt, there are people that are looking to buy it, and some of those people are like potentially insurers, which is terrifying. Is everything that I told people not to do when they were on the up and up. I'm like, hey, so now an insurance company is gonna buy your DNA and then not let you do any claims, because they're like, no, we know you sick, dog. We saw the 23andMe. You know, because you do a 23andMe of a corporation, they are 100% devil, also somehow 100% efficient. No, it sucks. I look at where I come from, and like I said, it's from the people who raised me, people who put me together, or what I'm made up of. Like, there are people in my life that I was very fortunate to meet young who were much older, so they had a lot of wisdom to pass down. I remember there was this woman who would just drop gems on me every now and again, out of nowhere, right? One time she said to me, she was like, you know, be very careful when you're picking a partner. Be very careful who you have a child with, because you're not making a baby, you're making a soul. And that's forever. She also once told me, don't ever trust somebody named after fruit. And I was like, what? And she was like, seriously, if somebody comes in your life named Clementine, she a hoe, all right? Don't trust any Clementines, okay? I know her one time, she told me. We were just sitting, and she was saying this about people, but she was like, when you finally see yourself the way that the people that love you see you, what a wonderful world that'll be. That's all the world's missing. It's people that see themselves the way that the people that love them see them. Truly, like, there's, in everything that people do and everything we search for, we try to find it in all these other places, but there's a level of acceptance that other people have for us, and sometimes we reject it or we think we don't deserve it. But if we could see ourselves, you wish it. You wish it on people when they're battling addiction and depression. You wish, it's like, oh, I just want you to see yourself the way I see you. If you saw yourself the way that I see you, you wouldn't feel this way about yourself. You know? She also once told me never get in an argument with a woman and then eat the pie she makes after that argument. That's a pie full of glass. One time she told me, I don't even know where it came from, but she said that sometimes when people are searching for love, that all they really need is to find someone who reminds them of their best day. Find someone who feels like their best day. You're gonna argue, you're gonna not be able to stay each other sometimes, but you can find somebody that feels like your best day. You won't always be happy, but you'll be like really in love. She was like, you find someone who feels like the best day that you've ever had. Because the best days only come once in a while. Every day can't be the best day, by definition. But if you find somebody that feels like your best day, you found a truly good life. She also told me that one time she got in an argument with her ex-husband, and she decided to let it go in that moment, and bake him a pie. She was like, wasn't my best day. I understand why people would want to do 23andMe, and I understand, at least on the surface, why they went bankrupt. They made the mistake of making a really good product and giving it to everybody, and everybody only needed it once, and that is tough. That's tough to watch people use their thing and watch that valuation go up. At one point, it was worth $6 billion. Billion. $6 billion. That's crazy. And then, they started dropping off left and right. People were like, oh, I'm not going to renew their subscription, or I sent it to my friend, but they don't want to take it. And the other reason people didn't want to take it was the other thing they did that was really good, but was their undoing, was they were helping to catch a lot of murderers. There were a lot of murderers who didn't even do 23andMe. They were like, I don't care how Scandinavian I am. And they're like, well, your cousin does. Hands behind your back. And you over here. That's tough. That's tough. You know what I mean? Because listen. I'm not rooting for criminals, okay? But how would you feel if you did all that planning? Do you know what I mean? You do all that planning, you rob a bank, you make it out scot-free. They're gonna make a movie about this one day and not know how to end it. You made it off scot-free, didn't kill anybody, very low charges if they catch you, just brandishing a weapon. Get on the ground, took all the money and stuff like that. Haven't even spent it yet. And then one day, it's very quiet. It's so quiet that you're like, damn, it's quiet in here. And maybe you live in an apartment building. You're like, usually I hear somebody arguing with their spouse, hear some kids maybe. Hear some loud music, some teenagers around here. And you don't hear anything. And then out of nowhere, they bust open your door. They've cleared out all the neighbors, like, get on the ground. And you're like, what? How? How is this possible? You don't even have the money on. You planned it so well, the money's buried in another state. How? Oh, well, when you were robbing the bank, you cut your finger and it bled a little. And a brother you don't know you have spit in a cup in Providence, Rhode Island. And honestly, we wouldn't have found you if it wasn't for that. Like, we were like, all the markers aren't matching and we can't seem to connect the dots, and then your cousin spit in that cup. Turns out, you're pretty Scandinavian. You are very Scandinavian. Picking you up off the floor. Oh, thanks. Had no idea. Carting you off. Who knows, maybe 23andMe's data, your data, will end up in good hands. Yeah, if you feel that way, you should delete it off the website right now. We are so loose with our data.
I just want to be fun. Like, I'm not fun. As a guy, I'm not a fun guy. I want to be so bad. I'll see people having fun and be like, that looks dope. And I'll tell you this, there's nothing less fun than catching somebody watch you have fun. Because that happens to me all the time. There are times where I'm standing to the side and I'm watching somebody have fun. And no matter what you're doing that's fun, if you catch somebody watching you have fun, you stop. You stop immediately what you're doing. You'll be having fun. Whether you're dancing, you be riding go-karts, whatever. And then if you just see someone off to the side like me, like, yeah. You look like you're having a good time. You were immediately not having a good time. It's the worst. It's so bad. I hate it. I don't like being the one to do. I didn't know that when you at a party and people are dancing and you are not dancing, you watching them dance. I didn't know you're supposed to move your head to the rhythm. I didn't know you're supposed to move your head to the rhythm side to side. I didn't know that's what we were doing. Like when people are dancing and they're over there, you're like, yeah, I didn't know it was that. I've done two very off things. One, I didn't know I was supposed to move my head if I was watching people dance, and I was supposed to move my head to the beat. So one time there were these people dancing, and then they caught me watching them have fun, but I was being completely still. And that is also heroin. You know what I mean? Like you really getting it, and then somebody off to the side against the wall is like, yeah. Keep doing that. It's very upsetting, you know? And like I said, I didn't know we were supposed to move our head side to side. So then there was another time I was like, okay, I'm supposed to move my head to the beat. So then I was moving my head to the beat, but I was going back and forth. And that is also unsettling to watch. You're dancing and somebody's like, yeah, to the rhythm. Yes. Yeah, get it. Get it. I just want to be fun. I want to be fun like Brazilians are very fun. Brazilians as a people, they have incredible music, beautiful dancing, they're beautiful people and they know how to have fun. I read about a guy who was so fun. This guy partied for 4 days straight. 4 full days of party. He partied from New Year's Eve well into the new year. So first and then 3 days. He partied for 4 days straight without realizing he had been shot in the head. That's a fun guy. That's a very, very fun individual, you know? This dude got shot in the head and went to more parties and was more fun. If I get shot, I don't know about y'all, but if I get shot in the head, I die. All right? Maybe that's just how I was raised, but like, I don't get shot in the head, keep carrying on twerking. I go to another plane where the mortal coil cannot follow, all right? This dude got shot in the head and went to more parties and was progressively more fun per party. If I get shot in the head, that is everybody's problem. I'll tell you that right now. If I got shot in the head tonight, we are all going to the hospital. Please believe me. And I will be calling out individuals if I see you trying to peel off. I'm like, no, Cindy, I need you. This man was shot in the head. And we don't even know the circumstances of him getting shot in the head. I was reading about it. Nobody knows this. Okay, I came up with some theories because no one knew. I think that maybe, you know how guys can be at a party, you're out here dancing or you're walking with your drink, somebody bumps into you, doesn't apologize. Now we have a problem, right? So now you get nose to nose trying to get them to apologize. Then you get loud and everybody's watching. And then you get like fully, you know like when dudes do this, like this full on in my face, our noses are touching. This is always weird. Anytime I see this, I'm like, y'all should just kiss. It would make more sense if you kiss right now. Because this is the thing. If he's here and I'm here, he could still really, he could choke me, he could do anything, right? Like, this is real fighting could happen right here. Here, you're a little too close. Here, there really isn't anything you would punch us if you punch me right now. And so maybe, you know, they got into it, they got nose to nose or whatever, they were ready to fight. And then
maybe this dude was like, what you gonna do? What you gonna do has got more people killed than any other sentence in language. It goes, what you gonna do, followed closely by, I wouldn't take that if I was you. It's like, those two are deadly, right? So then, maybe he goes, what you gonna do? And then the other guy pulls out a gun and shot him in the head. And then he went, rude. And then walked about his business, because clearly it didn't matter. He had been shot in the head. The head is where they keep all the brains. I don't know how this man was shot in his head and didn't know. I mean, look, what I think actually happened is that he was probably getting twerked on. Twerking is very distracting. If you're getting twerked on by the right person, you won't notice anything else happening in the room. He was probably like, girl, you getting it. Oh my God, you really getting it. You really getting it. Don't worry about that. This was a loud noise, baby girl. Keep doing what you do. No, it's wild. They asked him at the hospital. When he finally went to the hospital, they were like, you've clearly been shot in the head. What did you think happened? And he was like, oh, I thought I got hit in the head with a rock. That's the most shot in the head thing to say I've ever heard in my entire. You know, like when you at a party and you having a good time and everybody just starts throwing rocks? You know that common occurrence that happens at every party where everybody's having fun, we're all dancing, and then that one guy goes, pebbles for everybody. You know that thing that happens all the time to each and every one of us. Thought you got hit in the head with a rock. What? Only reason he went to the hospital is that his arm was spasmic. But he didn't even go right away. He was probably getting twerked on in the moment. It was like, girl, keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing, girl. You're really getting it. Oh my God. That's amazing. Everything you're doing is great. They finally stopped dancing after like a day. I don't know. And then she was like, where do you live? Let's go back to your place. He was like, girl, I live over there. And she was like, where? He's like, I'm pointing right at it, girl. She's like, what's wrong with your arm? He's like, oh, this has been happening for 3 days, girl. I saw this video of this guy who was at a white guy in Alabama that was at a Bass Pro Shop. So far, whole story checks out, right? So far, nothing is out of the ordinary, right? And this dude is very much on drugs. I don't know what drugs, but I know drugs, right? He's on drugs. Now, the story starts in the parking lot. He drives up to the Bass Pro Shop, and he immediately drives his car into a light pole at the Bass Pro Shop in the parking lot, and then he backs up and does it 8 more times, chops it down like a tree, right? And then he gets out and walks in the Bass Pro Shop. So you already know my man is ready to play. And so walks in the Bass Pro Shop. The video starts where it starts, so I don't know what happened in between. I don't know when he got naked. All I know is this dude. The video starts with this dude, and he just been doing cannonballs into the Bass Pro Shop fish tank. So these fish are all compromised, all right? So he is doing naked cannonballs over and over again. And I like this thing. I'd like to think they called the police when he got naked, but maybe they didn't. Maybe they were like, let's see what he does. And so my man is just climbing up, dunking, and then you can tell he's on drugs because he's speaking drugs, right? Because then in the video, he swims to the front of the tank and he's like, and when I heard that, I was like, that's drugs. That's not the native tongue of any land. And so the police come. So now we're going to switch for a second from people recording him on their phones to the police body cam, right? So police show up. They see him in the fish tank, and they see him. And he waved to them. It's not really phased. And so then they are trying to figure out how he got up there. So then they go ahead and they start climbing up some of the rocks, right? So then they turn, police body cam. They turn, and when they turn to him he's gone. And so you're like, okay, he on drugs, but is he magic? Because that's a different situation. Can you imagine if a magician is on drugs? David Blaine already like that. Imagine David Blaine on drugs. That'd be a problem. Make you feel like you on drugs. And so So then he's gone. He's gone because even though he's on drugs, he had the presence of mind that, hey, that's the police. They probably won't talk to me. And so then he jumped out of the tank. But the tank is like 18 feet high, right? So this man, naked, jumped out of the tank just onto the ground, and he landed Family Guy style, right? So this dude has knocked himself out on the ground, right? And he laying over here like this, like he just fully passed out. And you can even hear a cop through another cop's body cam turn, and he's not there, and then they see him on the ground, and you hear another cop go, oh shit. They come down. Now this man is like fully out, right? But he is on drugs. And so the drugs do wake him up just in time because now the cops are over, right? I don't know if they had actually grabbed his wrist yet or anything, but this dude immediately wakes up on drugs, flips over, and kicks one of the cops in the balls, right? So that cop goes down. I don't know the code for it, but he's not getting back up for a minute, okay? And now the cops all have bent knees because they're like, okay, we got a live boy here. Like he got a lot of fight in him, right? And I almost never feel bad for the police, but in this instance, I'm not gonna lie, I feel pretty bad for those officers because they try to catch a dude who is on drugs and naked and wet, so he is very hard to catch. Basically impossible. Because every time they grab this man, he over here like, no, no, thank you. Oh, no. No jail for me, no. And he's slippery as a fish, so they really can't get a hold of him. No, no, jail doesn't feel nice. No, I don't want it. And it's horrible, because then there's really nothing to grab. And I'm telling you, because he was naked in the tank, and we saw it, there's nothing to grab, right? So they are fighting to catch this dude. They finally get a hold of him because I think they've just been drying him off this whole time. You know what I mean? Through the entire scuffle. And they finally get him handcuffed and they're walking him out. And as they're walking about, this is back on people's phones now. As they're walking about, he's walking past people who've been recording him on their phones and he's going, Now this next part is not on camera. I had to read about this. They take him outside, they put him in the back of the cop car, and this is the first time where even though he is on drugs, he's not having a good time. Because now he in the back of the cop car going, this feels unfair. And then on drugs, he starts kicking the door, and because he's on drugs, even though he got a naked, wet foot, he is so strong that he is kicking the car door so hard, he is warping the metal, right? And I saw that, and I was like, he must kick that cop's dick off. Like, that's horrible. Police had to come out and make a statement the next day where they were like, we hope that his actions on camera will lead to better decisions in the future. Also, we expect Officer Ortiz to make a full recovery. I try to be a good friend to my friends with anxiety, because I have anxiety too, but like, it's hard to really be there for someone with anxiety because they're right. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you ever really listen to an anxious person talk, they're making some very salient points. Like, their points are actually so good, it's starting to jack up my anxiety, because I was like, fuck, I didn't think about that. Oh no! That's the worst. I'll tell you this, one time a friend called me. He was not doing well at all. And he was telling me how he wanted to, end it and everything. And then just started describing to me everything that was wrong in his life. And as I listened to my friend, I realized that we had the same life. And I've I'd be lying if I said I'd get a little defensive. Because he over here telling me, he's like, I can't do it anymore. I'm a grown man eating TV dinners every night. And I'm like, well, baby, you doing your best, all right? It's like I'm doing open mics every night to a bunch of people who just feel like I'm bothering them while they try to watch the game. I'm like, well, maybe you gonna get better one day. It's weird how much anxiety there is over the election. Like truly nobody's happy. Like everybody's like, You even feel how it got in here? Everybody is like bummed out. You know? It's odd, right? Because it's like a rematch nobody wanted. It feels really, really crazy. That's why, if I'm being honest with you, I try to think a lot about how to solve big problems, right? And I'm not a doctor. I'm not an engineer. I'm not even helpful, all right? But I think about how to solve big problems. And I think that in this scenario, and I want to be clear where I'm coming from. I'm not like, I mean this across the board, you know? I grew up in Louisiana. I lived in Chicago. I live in New York now. I travel around the country. I'm not just speaking with like some partisan idea in mind. I'm saying I think that for this election, and just this one, right? For this one election, that the presidential race should be a race. Because no matter who wins, I think we will be more astonished than upset. You know what I mean? Like, no matter who wins, we're gonna be like, I didn't know he had it in him. That's wild.
When I was a kid, our class had a bully, and I'm just gonna call him John, right? And John, he bullied everybody in like a very run-of-the-mill way. Like this was very standard bullying, like slap the books out your hand was that, you know, it was blow, right? And I think one of the reasons we let him get away with it wasn't just because he was a little bit bigger than all of us, but his voice changed first. And it changed so young, we didn't know what to do with that. Like, we didn't know that was coming for the rest of us. So then John would just walk up like, give me your homework. And I'd be like, that sounds like the devil. So, because I'm not equipped with holy water today, you gonna get this math homework. And there was another kid in our class, Reeve. And Reeve, I'm not gonna say he didn't have any friends, but Reeve had friends for like 20 minutes at a time because Reeve was one of the singular most annoying people I'd ever met in my entire life. It was almost to the level of a skill or a talent. It was absolutely insane. As an example, right? Reeve loved anime. And that's fine. I love anime too. But Reeve loved anime in a way that I didn't love anime because I at least know anime not real. Reeve loved anime to the point where he was letting it affect how he runs. Some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, he could never do anything regular. He had to do anime every time. He could never just turn around. He had to be like, you ask Reeve a question, he doesn't know the answer. He can't just think about it. He has to go, It's like, as a fellow anime lover, I'm like, dog, chill. You making us look bad. Stop. Please. Oh, it was insane. And one day, we were at lunch, and Reeve was trying to make his carton of milk explode, right? You know, with his powers. And so he holding his hand over the carton of milk, not touching it, holding it over. Nothing happening because it's not real.
finally gets so tired of waiting for the powers to activate that he grabbed the milk, squeeze it, drop it, and go, I did it. No, I did it. Y'all just didn't see it when I did it. But yeah, no, I did it. Ooh, I got it. Now, when he picked it up and he crushed it, milk went everywhere. And a lot of milk just spurted out and landed all over John. And John stood up, turned around, walked up to Reeve, towering over him, and was like, you got milk on me. We gonna fight later. And never before in my young life had I been so excited for violence. Because as word spread, people were taking sides. They were like, no, John gonna kill Reeve. And we're like, no, Reeve weird. I bet you he gonna scratch him to death. Like, he has that X factor. We might be able to get rid of both of them at the same time. And so after school, we gathered around in a little circle in front of the two of them. They're about to fight, right? And John is like lumbering back and forth. And we knew John was strong, but he also, he moved slow. And he was moving slow pre-fight. He was just stalking back and forth like Mike Tyson in the early 90s, just like ready to do something terrible, right? And then on the other side of this imagined ring, Reeve is using his pre-fight time to power up. I've watched a lot of anime, and I've never seen what this child did next. Because to power up, the first thing he did was let his knees buckle. What is this? What power are you drawing from the earth right here like this? This doesn't make any sense at all. He over here, knees buckled, arms out. This is not how you power up in any anime. This is how you fall down the stairs if you a slinky. All right? And this boy here, like this, doing the power up yell. Oh! And then the fight starts, and the fight starts with Reeve attacking John, right? Coming right at him, but he coming at him in the power-up stance. So he over, oh! And admittedly, John didn't know what to do. He really was like, oh! And so they start fighting, and kind of what we thought was going to happen happens. John is big, he's strong, but he telegraphs all his punches, and he's slow. Boom, but he's missing, right? And Reeves attacks. Reeves' attacks have a lot of energy to them. That's not really going anywhere. Like, instead of punching, he over here, yeah! And so he's fast enough getting out of John's way, but he's not doing any damage. And so John over here punching air, and Reeve over here throwing air. So it's not really a fight. But I really was gathered around all those people, shoulder to shoulder, watching two of them go at it like fight. First time in my life. Fight. So when I think about Elon and Trump, right? It's like it's like one of the most insane bouts I've ever watched take place in my life. In case you haven't heard, Elon and Trump are fighting. And it's like Christmas came early and twice.
Like, the only person calling for peace is Kanye West. That's crazy. It's crazy. And we knew that this thing was bound to happen, you know? Because you have to think of who Elon is as a person and who Trump is as a person, right? And it's wild because one, richest man in the world, one, most powerful man in the world and everything, but they had a shaky alliance from the start because I don't think we gave Trump in the moment enough credit for how nice he was being to Elon. He was very nice to Elon. You know? Because Elon, weird. Wait. Elon weird, and Trump didn't say anything about it the entire time, acting like he didn't see it. Like, that's not who he is as a person. Trump is a natural bully. Like, that's what he does, you know? And he was very nice to Elon by omission. I'm not just talking about what he said, because Trump is always using superlatives if he likes you. If he likes you, you're the best, smartest, most amazing that's ever done it, right? That's how he speaks. But he was nice to Elon by what he didn't say. Because you got to remember, Donald Trump is the same man who roasted the supreme leader of North Korea to his face. I don't know if y'all remember, it was like 2018 or something, and Kim Jong-un and him met up to have dinner and like talks and stuff like that, and there was a photographer there taking pictures of both of them before they sat down for the dinner, and Trump turned to the photographer and was like, "You making us all look nice and handsome and thin?" A lot of people think Kim Jong-un doesn't speak or understand English. He understands English. He consumes a lot of American media. And Kim Jong-un was even standing there like, did he? He know I kill people, right? Like, oh, that same guy was very nice to Elon. And he was nice to Elon by omission because Elon jumped in front of Trump. You saw the jump. The world saw the jumps. Trump invited Elon on stage, and Elon walked on stage like, showed bottom belly in front of Donald Trump. This grown man showed full belly button, broad daylight in front of Donald Trump, and Trump said nothing. Acted like he didn't see it. Just let that dude start talking right after. That was wild. You know, Elon jumped because he was excited. And he was excited because what was about to happen had never happened before. Never before. Right? Obviously, Elon, richest man in the world, and as long as there's been money infused in politics, the wealthy have had a ton of influence. That's nothing new. What was about to happen was unprecedented. This rich man was about to actually get to go in the government himself. No back channels, no liaisons. He was going to go in the government himself. He was going to end every investigation into him and his companies. He was going to fire everyone investigating. He was very excited. And I guess he was more excited than any president we've ever had because all of our presidents have kept their feet on the ground the entire time. There's no old footage of Kennedy like, it doesn't exist. There's no portrait of Thomas Jefferson like, no, get the one where he was getting air. That was... This man jumped in front of Donald Trump. Trump said nothing. Elon laughed in front of Trump. As someone who has traveled the world and continues to travel the world making people laugh, I've heard all types of laughs. And believe me when I tell you, Elon laughed like he throwing up.
Watch any interview Elon does where he makes a joke, because only he will get it, and then he starts laughing, and he's just sitting there like, you know, it's because comedy is you know, it's funny with jokes. This man laughed in front of Donald Trump. Trump said nothing. Elon danced in front of Donald Trump. Elon danced like he gotta look at each body part first to give it permission to move. Like it is truly his time. He'll be there. In front of Donald Trump. And Trump didn't say a word. That's like sitting Eminem down in front of a yacht going 40 knots, holding 30 knots, who are each holding bulbs that are 20 watts, and he can't rap about it at all. That's his whole thing. It's wild that he's not saying anything. He is being very nice to Elon. And I knew it wasn't gonna hold. Everybody knew it was gonna fall apart. We didn't know when, but we knew it was a short-lived alliance. And it was short-lived, in my opinion, for two reasons. All right? The first one is that you cannot ever watch someone treat everyone terribly and think that that doesn't mean they'll do the same thing to you under the right conditions. You know what I mean? And I should be clear here. I'm not talking about someone who has a bad day, someone who's in a bad way. At the moment, we're all human. People have bad days. I'm talking about someone who, by and large, treats people terribly, but is nice to you. It's only for right now. As soon as you're in the position the other people are in, they'll treat you the same way. And if you don't think so, you're a fool. And both of them, without exception, think that they are the exception. Oh no, I've seen him scream at everybody and, you know, treat them like trash. It won't happen to me though. All right? One has the most money in the world. One has the most power in the world. But neither one of them have respect for anybody. And the three things that men like them seek, and I think that they seek them because maybe they're the only things that they care about, or maybe they truly believe that if they get these three or enough of them, everything else will fall into place. But men like these men are obsessed with money, power, and respect. You can have all the money in the world, you can have all the power in the world, but a lot of people conflate fear with respect. And they're not the same thing. You know, you can be afraid of what someone could do to you with all of their money. It doesn't mean you respect them. You can be afraid of what someone can do to you with all of their power. It doesn't mean that you respect them. And you know it because as soon as the money is gone, the respect is gone. As soon as the power is gone, the respect is gone. And there are plenty of people. There are plenty of people I've known growing up in my life, men that I looked up to who did not have any money. And they didn't have any more power than enough to control themselves, but I respected them because of how they treated people, how they carried themselves. And respect is the one thing, one of many, that can't be bought and it can't be forced. And neither one of them really get that. And they don't respect anyone. So eventually this was going to come to a head. And I knew it was starting because Elon truly believes, he's even said so, that he bought Trump that election. You know, he spent $250 to $280 million in the election. He believes, look, you lost the last one, you won this one. I'm the difference. I'm the deciding factor. I got you that election. And you're not going to convince a man like Donald Trump that you got him anything. He's like, that's my base. Those are my voters. They like me. They don't like you. You didn't get me anything. I'll gladly take your money, but you didn't get me the election. I got it myself. That was always going to be a sticking point. And so then Elon took that belief and he took it to a local race in Wisconsin. Right? And he was even doing like little $1 million raffles if you vote for the person who wants you to vote for. It was very confusing how it worked. Like I didn't get it at all. And he even went to Wisconsin, was stumping for this person, was there in Wisconsin. And then the candidate that he backed lost by double digits. And it's because people see how much money he has. He's the richest man in the world, but they don't like or respect him. He hurt that candidate by being there and by doing those raffles. It would be like if someone came to you, and let's say in this scenario, you know, you're working and you're doing all right, you're getting by, and maybe sometimes it's paycheck to paycheck, things get rough, right? But someone comes up to you and they're like, hey, you just won the lottery. And you're like, what? I didn't even enter. Don't worry, we got you. What? How much did I win? $1 billion. Going from paycheck to paycheck to $1 billion. That's crazy. And you're like, there's got to be a catch. I didn't enter any lottery. What do I have to do? And they're like, that's simple. You just have to hang out with Elon for the rest of your life. And at least based on what those people did in Wisconsin, they were like, you know what, actually, my job at McDonald's is perfect. I really like being customer facing. I like the rapport I have with my coworkers. Just keep that money and him away from me, please. Because he could not buy the race, because as much money, don't get me wrong, $1 million, ton of money. That's a ton of money. And people have done way worse for less, but at a certain point, people reach their breaking point. And they're like, no, I have enough respect for myself, I have enough respect for my community, for my state, to not just vote this way, just for some money from a guy who I know is a bad actor, you know? And once that happened, I knew it was probably up for Elon. Because he lost that race. He hurt that candidate by going there. And if there's one thing Donald Trump hates, is a loser. And you could see some of the shine wearing off of Elon. Because initially, when the administration started, they protected Elon heavy. Anybody said anything about him, anybody did anything, they were on it like that immediately. But then Elon started getting on people's nerves. You know, initially, when they won, somebody would ask a question, they'd shut it down to the media. Elon is a patriot. He's helping clear this government of waste, fraud, and abuse. You leave Elon alone. And then people started to rebel against Elon specifically through Tesla. Tesla stock started plummeting. People stopped buying Teslas. And then people started vandalizing Teslas. They started blowing up Teslas. And then Pam Bondi came on the news and was like, if you vandalize a Tesla, we will find you. We will prosecute you. They were helping Elon a lot. Trump even turned the front of the White House into like a dealership for a day, and he had Elon there, right? They were doing their best to help Elon. But then, as you saw the months go by, they started mentioning him less. You started seeing them together less. You could tell this thing was waning. And then, how I know that they had stopped protecting him, his 130 days was up as the Doge, like, daddy or whatever. Like, I don't know what this job is. Like, depending on who you ask on what day, he's like an advisor, but he's the leader, but he's not involved. It's like, it's all very weird, but he can only do it for 130 days because as America, we only have like 3 laws left, and one of them is that you can't be in a made-up position for more than 130 days. And so it was like time. And so it was time for him to go, right? And it being time for him to go, he asked Trump if he could stay. And Trump was like, dang, man. No, we only have so many, like, bathrooms in here. Like, it wouldn't work, you know? I imagine Trump had the reaction that you would have if the worst person you know asked if they could live with you for a little while. Just like, oh, dang, my place just flooded just now. That's right when you asked me too. That's crazy. I know we're not there, but I can feel with my bed underwater. Like, it's just a thing I have. So you should probably find somewhere for both of us to stay, because I need somewhere to stay too. Find a place for both of us to stay and you just stay there. That would be great. And so Elon, shows up for his last day at work, and the president is in the Oval Office with him, honoring him, giving him a key to nowhere. And one of the ways I knew they had stopped protecting Elon is because there were like 2 publications that came out, one the day before he left Doge, one the day of, and both those publications from like high caliber written journalism basically said, headline contents were basically, did y'all know he was a crackhead? Like, he'd been a crackhead. That's crazy. Elon a full crackhead. I had no idea. They were listing the drugs he was doing. They're like, he does cocaine, you know, he does mushrooms, some hallucinogens and everything, ketamine. Horses can't keep up with Elon. Like, he really out here a full crackhead. That's wild. You know? And then, you know, to prove the doubters, the detractors, what Elon would call the full-blown liars wrong, he showed up to the Oval Office for his last day of work, higher than his rockets go. This man was in the Oval Office standing next to the President of the United States, tweaking. This man was over here hitting he looked like he arguing 5 minutes into the future. It was wild to watch. This man over... could not stop moving. At one point, the only, like, you have to watch the video, but like, the only way I could describe it is he felt like a slow Michael Jackson, right? Like, just, he was just over here like, it was insane. This man next to the president cracking out, and Trump said nothing. And then he left, you know. He left, and I'll admit to you right now, I thought it was like a PR stunt. I really did. I thought that he was leaving, and then he'd just keep running Doge in the background, and this would take some of the heat off of him. Now you wouldn't think of him so directly. People wouldn't attack his businesses so hard, because in the time that he entered politics to present, he's lost somewhere around like $100 billion or something like that. And it's all like a valuation thing. It goes up and down, but you could see that at least the boards of the businesses that he was on are genuinely worried, even if he doesn't care. So I thought he was gonna leave politics for a little while, keep working in the shadows, maybe the stock would go up a little bit, but nothing would really change. And it turns out that was not the case. He had really been getting on people's nerves. Like hard. And you saw it with Trump. They used to always, be talking about Elon, mention him, to not mentioning him at all. And then the people that Elon had to deal with, it wasn't really Trump as much as the actual cabinet, and they couldn't stand that dude. They hated that dude so much. And so he's really out. And you hear reports, now this stuff is all hearsay, I don't know if any of it is true, but apparently he was having shouting matches with Marco Rubio all the time. All of these cabinet people that Trump got in, Elon has had a spat with most of them, right? Scott Bessent, apparently him and Elon almost got in an actual fight. Scott Bessent doesn't look like he can fight. If you... If you don't know what Scott Bessent look or sound like, just imagine if like printer paper came to life. Like and Elon was truly out. He was out, and one thing really stuck out to me. It was the fact that Elon and Trump share a sort of lived experience where they're not used to hearing no and it's sticking. No is usually an inconvenience to a yes for them. They usually get their way. And so for Elon to be told no, and then he was actually sidelined, and then things that he wanted to happen weren't happening. He wanted some dude that he recommended to be the head of NASA. Trump said no. And then there were things that Elon didn't like because he felt like apparently they were undercutting all his work, like Trump's big, beautiful bill it's named the Big Beautiful Bill because imagination. And Elon has hated that thing, I guess, for a while. You know, just the idea of it. It's almost universally despised. Democrats obviously hate it, and Republicans also hate it, but for different reasons. They don't care that it's like gutting, programs and whole agencies and that we're all gonna die. They don't like it because it raises the deficit anywhere from $3 to $5 trillion, right? And so it takes about 4 or 5 days. And then Elon tweets. He's like, I can't stand it anymore. I cannot stand it anymore. This bill is a disgusting abomination. And everybody in the House that voted for it, you did wrong, right? And Trump said nothing. I was like, did he find God or something? Like what is happening? This is not the dude we know. He attacks those who attack him. And he's finally asked about it. He's asked about it in a press conference, and they tell him exactly what Elon said. He's like, I'm really disappointed with Elon. He knew the bill. He knew it better than some of the people that voted on it. He knew this bill, and he knew it was going to be cutting, his electric vehicle credits like that. Maybe that's what he's upset about. I have no idea. But in case you don't remember, I was very nice to him. That dude showed up with a black eye. I didn't say anything. Because he did. Elon showed up for his last day of work, high and with a black eye that Trump just fully let go. He didn't point at it, didn't motion to it, nothing. Was very chill about the black eye. And then, in the Oval Office, these are some of, not all, but some of the top journalists in America. Obviously, they have questions for Elon of what his plans are. Now that he's leaving Doge, he's going to spend all his time on his companies. They have plans to ask Trump questions about what he's going to do with Doge now that Elon is gone. What's the future of it, right? But these top journalists, the first question that I at least saw them ask was, what's wrong with your eye? Like that's... Nobody gonna say nothing? Like his eye. And then Elon was like, it's actually like a funny story. I asked my 5-year-old, my 5-year-old little ex, I told him to punch me. We were Ralph Hussein. I told him to punch me, and he punched me. I got a black eye. It was actually, he's strong for a 5-year-old. It's kind of funny. Elon said he had a black eye because his 5-year-old punched him. That's a crackhead story if I ever heard one. That is a full crackhead lie. You must have the most synthetic skin known to man if this 5-year-old is out here dodging and giving black eyes. And so Trump was like, look, maybe we'll go on to have a great relationship. Maybe we won't, because that's the thing. People come in here with us, they like being here, and then when it's time to go, they either embrace it or they lose their minds. You can tell who broke up with who by how people move after a breakup. You know what I mean? Because while Trump is talking, Elon is tweeting. He's tweeting, and it's a lot. This dude goes all the way back to Trump's old tweets from like 2013, 2015, where he's like, I can't believe what they're doing with the spending bill. This is such irresponsible spending. If you have this much of a deficit, you won't have a country. And he's going back and showing all these old tweets, and he's quote tweeting them like wise words. Once again, you can tell who broke up with who, because for you to scroll back to 2013, you hurt. You are mad. You know how much his thumbs must be exhausted. 2013 tweets. Trump was tweeting tweeting 272 times a day, and he made it all the way back to 2013, which means he read them all. He hurt. So he hitting up with a 2013, this you text, like, that's crazy. That was insane. And he keeps tweeting. He's getting madder and madder. I don't even know what's happening in the background, but he is tweeting himself down a tunnel because every time he tweets, Tesla stock drops by like $13 billion. It's just going down and down and down and down. And he's tweeting up a storm, right? He even tweets out, he's like, you wouldn't have won without me. Okay? If it hadn't been for me, Republicans wouldn't have won the House. The Dems would be in the House. The Dems would have the White House, and you'd have a slim majority in the Senate. You ungrateful. Keeps tweeting, keeps tweeting, keeps tweeting, getting more and more upset. I don't know what's happening in the background, but this man is getting more and more pissed off. He even tweets, every single one of you Republican senators who votes for this bill will be voted out next term, all right? I will put money behind it, okay? He over here, honestly, Elon over here talking like he one of the people or something. Like, I was like, what is happening right now? What do you mean we, dog? Like, make me uncomfortable. But he says it, and then he said, oh, he's getting madder and madder and madder. And then he tweets out threatening Republicans specifically. He's like, look, here's the deal. Trump's gonna be the president for 3.5 more years. I'm gonna be around for 40. That must have sent chills down your spine if you were a Republican senator, any Congress. Trump is gonna be president for 3.5 more years. I'll be around for 40. You could hear the threat in it when you read it. Trump is going to be president 3.5 more years. I will be around for 40. And I was sitting in my room like, not on crack. Like, not on crack. Like, that's not, you must not know what crack is. Like, that's not nutritious at all. The crack is not good for you. You should not have crack. Be around for 40. All right. Oh, it's insane. And then Trump finally tweets. He's had enough. And you can tell he's had enough because we know the type of man Trump is. We know the type of figure he is, the type of president he is. He's had enough of this, and he's been holding back. He's been very nice to Elon. I'm sure in his head he was like, I've been very, very nice to this dude. Elon acts and moves like he snuck into a body. And Trump didn't say anything. Trump is over here like, I didn't mention the jumping, the laughing, anything. This man blew crack smoke on my shoulder, and I was very nice to him. And so then Trump tweets out, he's like, hey, yo, one of the easiest ways for us to save billions and billions and billions of dollars, just get rid of all of Musk's government contracts. That would do it quick. And then Democrats were like, do you mean it? Or like, are you just mad or you mean it? All right, I was just asking. Okay. And then Elon tweets this clip that is him and Trump in front of a Tesla in front of the White House, and the quote for the tweet just says, remember when? I was like, oh, he hurt. Oh, he must be sick right now. I've been broken up with most of my life, but I've never hit somebody with a remember when. So crazy. Remember when? And then Musk tweets again. He's like, hey, since Trump wants to threaten my government contracts, how about SpaceX just goes ahead and disassembles Dragon whatever ship right now? And that would be all well and good, except there are 4 astronauts in the International Space Station right now that are probably floating like, what did we do? Like, that's... I'm not in this at all. Because they're mad, furious, going at each other, you know? And then, I don't know what pulls the trigger, you know? Trump tweeted one more time, and it still felt very reserved. It felt very nice. He was like, look, I don't care if Elon turns against me. I want the big, beautiful bill passed. He can just deal with it. Let's get this legislation done, right? And then Elon tweets out, all right, time to drop the big bomb. Trump is in the Epstein files. That's why they haven't come out yet. Have a nice day, DJT. You can tell who broke up with who, because the person that gets broken up with is the one that tries to ruin your life and tells you have a nice day in like the same breath. Oh, that's crazy. That's gonna be a hard one to dig yourself out of, because Epstein is like the burrowing ground. It is the conspiracy 101, right? So many people had podcasts, had hours of content going over Epstein, talking about who might be involved, who's in the Epstein files, who's in the Epstein log, his little black book, all that stuff, going over and over and over it, getting people really feverish over it. And then some of those same people, because of who they are and because who they're connected to, they get in office. They get into government office through Trump, right? That was a mistake, because even the hardcore conspiracy theorists knew. When Elon tweeted that out, Trump is in the Epstein files. That's why they haven't come out yet. Almost right underneath is Alex Jones saying, God help us all. Elon the guy, Alex Jones pressed. Because where do you go from here truly, you know? Where do you go? Because those same people who are talking about, oh, if they just let me in a room full of files, I find the Epstein files in 5 minutes. Just let me in the room. And now you're in the FBI. And so when people ask you, what's up? And you're like, actually, it's nothing. Like, don't worry about it. Nothing happened. Just go back to what you were doing. It's not. That does not sound real. I'm not saying anything else is even going on. I'm saying what you have stoked makes it impossible to stomp out. There will never be enough information coming out. There will never be enough stuff uncovered. There'll never be enough files released. You know, they tried initially. They tried. They were like, hey, we're releasing the Epstein file. They even made it like, you know, like a Fox News event. Epstein files coming out 9 p.m. tonight, right? And when they released it to a lot of these like blue check conspiracy theorists, Twitter influence. I don't even know what it's called, but they released it to them. And those people were on fire. Those people were pissed. Because when they actually opened it and they read it, because they meant it. These are true believers, by the way. These aren't people that are like part of the grift. They're reading it and they realize that everything in these things has already been released already. There's no new information in these things. In fact, they did such a bad job of trying to make it look real that they redacted stuff that was already public. And that was, for that conspiracy theory group, very weird. That was very, very weird. You know? And so that was already strike one. And now Elon's saying this, that's strike two. Because it's not like that's new information. We knew that Trump was involved with Epstein. There's literally video of them partying together and stuff like that, like on MSNBC from 1992. Like, that's not news or anything. But when you're a conspiracy theorist and nothing is enough, you know? And so then in the background, people are trying to chill this thing out. There are White House aides, there's Elon's assistants trying to get these two to mediate, not make it any worse than it is right now. You know? And as of the time I'm talking, there's a lot of stuff that Elon's taken down, like tweets that he took down. And even Trump is trying to be very nice to Elon. They asked him his first interview since all this happened. And he's like, look, I don't know. I'm just trying to run the country. I wish him well and everything. I don't know anything about his drug habit and him being a full-on crackhead. That's not any of my business, right? So publicly, he's putting on a very good face. He's trying to be very professional, very presidential. And apparently, rumor has it, privately, he is calling everybody he knows, like, you know he a crackhead, right? Like, no, he blew the smoke right on my back. I had to get my suit cleaned. And look, I'm not saying that this is the end of either of them. I don't know if they'll reconcile. I don't think that's even possible. I just know it's the first time that I'm standing shoulder to shoulder with a bunch of people, watching two people go at it like fight. Yo, Detroit, y'all been amazing. Thank you so much.